The stars burned silently above the ancient world of Atheon. On a cliff of black stone beneath a dying sun, an alien priest stood alone. His name was Zorkel, the last high seer of his kind. In his trembling hands, he held a crystal tablet that glowed with golden light. The words written upon it were old, older than his race, older than the Council of Worlds, older even than most stars. As the wind howled through the ruins, Zorkel read the prophecy one last time. From the ashes of a small blue world they shall rise. Flesh and fury, heart and fire, the children of dust will come, and the stars shall tremble. They are the doom and they are the dawn. When he finished, the crystal cracked. The ground shook. The sky turned red. And with his final breath, Zorkel whispered, "Forgive us." The doom will come from Earth. Then the world of Atheon was swallowed by fire. Thousands of years later, the prophecy was forgotten, buried in dust and legend. Across the galaxy, great civilizations ruled in peace under the Galactic Council. To them, the old prophecies were nothing but myths. But one alien historian, a tall grey being named Taran Vos, did not forget. He studied ancient records, hunted lost relics, and followed every strange myth he could find. His peers called him a fool, the prophet of ghosts. Until one day something changed. From the deep scanners of the outer reach, a strange signal appeared. A small planet at the edge of a yellow star system had launched hundreds of metal ships into space. They called their world Earth. At first, the Council laughed. A primitive species, barely able to leave their home planet. But within a few hundred years, they built colonies on their moon, their neighbor planets, and finally into deep space. Their technology grew faster than anyone had seen before, and with them came something else, a strange kind of energy, not from machines. It came from their will. Taran watched the humans closely. He observed how they fought, how they adapted, how they survived things that should have killed them. He saw them rebuild after wars, famine, and chaos, stronger each time. One evening, as Taran sat in the great archive of the Council, he found something that froze his heart. It was an old fragment, written in the same language as Zorkel's prophecy. The translation matched perfectly. "Beware the children of dust. They will bring fire to the stars." His hands trembled. He replayed the translation again and again. Was it possible that the prophecy spoke of these humans? The next day, he presented his findings before the Galactic Council. The massive chamber filled with hundreds of alien voices. Glowing forms, scaled beings, and metallic creatures all turned their eyes toward him. Taran spoke with calm fear. "These humans, they match every line of the ancient warning. They come from a blue planet. They survive what others cannot, and they spread faster than any known race." "I believe," but he was interrupted by laughter. Councillor Driza, a winged alien from the Vega Dominion, shook his head. "You bring us fairy tales, Taran. These creatures are fragile. They still fight among themselves. You fear ghosts," another alien added. "The humans are clever, yes, but harmless. Let them explore. They will learn their limits soon enough." Taran's voice grew louder. "And if they don't? What if the prophecy is not about destruction, but transformation?" The chamber went silent for a moment. Then the Council ended the meeting. His warning was ignored. Far from the Council's world, in the dark void between stars, a human exploration ship named Odyssey was making its first jump into alien space. The crew was small, 12 men and women, but their mission was historic: to make peaceful contact with intelligent life. The moment they crossed into alien territory, hidden sensors across the sector came alive. The Galactic Council began to watch. To the aliens, humans looked strange, soft, emotional, and unpredictable. But what frightened them most wasn't their weapons. It was their eyes. The way humans stared into the unknown, not with fear but with curiosity. Within weeks, humans made contact with a small alien race called the Velari. They shared food, traded technology, and even sang songs together. The Velari were amazed. These humans smiled too easily for creatures from such a violent world. But when pirates attacked the meeting site, everything changed. Before the Council's defense fleets could respond, the humans acted. Their ships moved with precision, disabling the pirate vessels in seconds. No one was killed. No city destroyed. The pirates were captured alive, and the humans left behind supplies for the injured. The Council couldn't understand it. Who fights like that? Who wins without hate? Back on the Council's homeworld, Taran stood alone watching the recordings from the Velari system. He saw human ships move like storms, silent, fast, unstoppable, yet controlled. He whispered to himself, "They are not conquerors. They are something else." Then he turned toward the old crystal fragment lying on his desk. The words glowed faintly once again, as if alive. "They will not come as invaders, but as survivors." Taran's breath caught in his throat. He looked out the window, where the distant blue planet of Earth shone faintly across the stars. For the first time in centuries, the ancient prophecy whispered again, not in words, but in the silent trembling of the galaxy, and Taran understood one terrible truth. The doom had already awakened. The galaxy had grown restless. Whispers spread through alien worlds, stories of the strange new species from the blue planet called Earth. They were explorers, traders, and soldiers all at once. They smiled while building weapons, and they offered friendship while studying their enemies. To the Galactic Council, humanity was a mystery that refused to fit inside logic. In a vast meeting hall floating above a red star, the Council gathered again. Holograms of hundreds of alien species flickered around the chamber. Councillor Drizar slammed his metallic claws on the table. These humans destroyed an entire pirate fleet in seconds. Who gave them the right to interfere in Council space? Another alien replied, "They saved the Valari from extinction." Is that a crime? The voices rose higher and higher until the Grand Speaker silenced them all. Enough. We will observe these humans closely. No war, no contact, only observation. But Taran Vos, the historian who once warned them all, watched in silence. His instincts screamed danger, not because humans were evil, but because they were different. Their actions didn't follow the patterns of any known species. They don't conquer, he whispered to himself. They adapt. Far away, the human ship Odyssey had returned home. It carried recordings of the first peaceful contact with the Valari and a warning about the pirates. The human leaders on Earth watched the footage with mixed emotions. They had finally proven that humans were not alone. But they also knew that someone out there was watching them back. A new ship was built, larger, stronger, faster. It was named Horizon 1. Its mission, to establish the first official embassy with the Galactic Council. The day Horizon 1 launched, billions watched across Earth, children waved flags, and cities glowed with light as the great ship rose through the clouds. Inside the command deck, Captain Mara Ellen stood before her crew. She was calm, sharp-eyed, and known for never losing a mission. "Remember," she said softly, "we're not here to fight. We're here to meet the galaxy." But her hand still rested on the control pad for the ship's defense systems. Weeks later, Horizon 1 entered neutral space near a world called Elaris Prime, a hub of trade between alien species. Thousands of alien ships surrounded the station, their crews watching the humans with curiosity and fear. When the docking signal was accepted, a strange silence filled the airwaves. No one had ever seen humans up close, only rumors and blurry transmissions. As the humans stepped off their ship, wearing simple grey uniforms, the aliens stared in disbelief. They expected monsters. They found faces full of wonder. Captain Mara greeted the first alien envoy with a smile. "We come in peace and we bring gifts from Earth." Her words echoed through the chamber. No one moved. Then slowly the alien representative, a soft-skinned being named Relka, reached out its hand. Mara shook it firmly. That small moment became history. News spread across the stars. Humans are peaceful. They traded food, art, and knowledge. They helped repair damaged systems, taught the Valari new farming techniques, and listened to every culture they met. The council began to relax. Maybe the prophecy was wrong after all. Maybe humanity wasn't a threat. But deep in the shadows of Elaris Prime, others were not so hopeful. A secret alliance of powerful empires, the Drax Dominion, the Core Syndicate, and the Voon Collective, saw danger in humanity's kindness. "They hide behind smiles," said Lord Voon, his eyes glowing crimson. "Their peace is a weapon. If we wait too long, it will be too late." And so they planned a test. 3 warships from the Dominion approached Horizon 1 in deep space, broadcasting false distress signals. Captain Mara and her crew responded immediately, believing someone needed help. When they arrived, the Dominion ships turned their guns on the humans. "Unidentified vessel," a cold voice said. "You have entered restricted space. Power down or be destroyed." Mara didn't blink. "Prepare defense grid," she ordered quietly. "Shields up." The Dominion ships opened fire, beams of plasma cutting through the void. For a moment, the stars themselves seemed to explode, but Horizon 1 did not fall. It moved like a living creature, dodging every blast, striking back only once. A single pulse that disabled all 3 ships at once. When the smoke cleared, the human vessel stood untouched. The alien ships drifted powerless. Mara's voice echoed across the channel, calm and clear. "This is Earth Vessel Horizon 1. You are safe now. We will send aid." The stunned Dominion commanders couldn't understand. Why did the humans spare them? Why offer help to enemies? Later, the Council received the report. Some praised the humans' mercy. Others saw it as terrifying control. "They could have destroyed them," said one general. "Instead, they showed restraint. That's not weakness. That's confidence." Taran watched the recording in silence. In the humans' calm faces, he saw something ancient, the same strength written in the forgotten prophecy. They will not destroy to rule. They will endure to change. He turned toward the stars and whispered, "The prophecy is alive." That night, in the archives of the Council, Taran discovered a missing piece of Zor Kel's original text. It glowed faintly as he translated the symbols. "The doom will not come with hatred. It will come with hope." Taran stared at the words for a long time. His heart felt heavy, because now he understood what the ancient priest had seen. Humanity was not the end of the galaxy. They were the beginning of something the universe was not ready for. The story of Horizon 1 spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In every marketplace, in every data channel, and across every alien world, people whispered the same thing. The humans defeated a Dominion fleet, and then helped them. At first, it sounded impossible. A young species from a small blue planet standing against one of the galaxy's strongest empires and showing mercy. Some called it courage. Others called it madness. But deep down, everyone felt the same chill. Humans were unpredictable. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, the mood had changed. The room that once buzzed with laughter now trembled with quiet arguments. Councillor Drezar slammed his wings in anger. "Do you not see it? They hide behind kindness. Mercy is just another kind of weapon," a calm voice replied from across the table. "Perhaps," said Councillor Vela, "or perhaps it is something greater than fear, something we have forgotten." But most of the Council did not listen to her. They only remembered how easily humans had defeated trained Dominion warships. If a race that young could already match their fleets, what would they become in another century? In his quiet study, far from the noise of politics, Taran Vos sat alone before a glowing screen. Lines of ancient text covered the display, fragments of the prophecy he had pieced together over the years. "From the ashes of dust they shall rise. They will not destroy to conquer, but endure to change." Taran whispered to himself, "Change what? The stars? The Council? Or everything we know?" He remembered the humans' faces from the recordings, their calm expressions during the battle, their steady voices even when surrounded by enemies. No arrogance, no hatred, only focus. He had never seen such eyes before. He began to understand what the ancient priest Zor Kel must have seen long ago, not monsters, but survivors. Meanwhile, on the outer rim of the galaxy, fear was spreading faster than truth. Alien news channels showed human fleets training in deep space, their engines glowing like small suns. They showed images of human colonies growing on frozen moons and barren rocks. "They spread like fire," said one commentator, "and fire burns everything it touches." Rumors grew darker. Humans are building superweapons. Humans are cloning armies. Humans are preparing to take the galaxy. Most of it was false, but fear doesn't need truth, only imagination. On Earth, humanity was unaware of the panic they had caused. The people were busy building, exploring, dreaming. Children studied alien languages in schools. Scientists worked on new forms of travel. Artists painted the stars. They believed they were being accepted by the galaxy. They didn't know how much fear their existence had already created. Captain Mara Ellen, still aboard Horizon 1, watched the news coming from alien space. Her heart grew heavy. "We saved lives," she said quietly, "and now they fear us for it." Her second officer replied, Because they've never seen anything like us before, Captain. Mara nodded. Then we'll show them who we really are, no matter how long it takes. In the shadows of another world, the Drax Dominion was preparing something dangerous. Humiliation had burned their pride. Their fleets had been disabled by a single human ship. They would not forgive that. A Drax commander, his body covered in red scales, stood before his generals. These humans believe mercy makes them strong. Let us remind them what true strength looks like. He ordered the creation of Operation Silence, a plan to invade a remote human colony and erase it completely, leaving no survivors. The attack would be disguised as a pirate raid. If successful, no one would ever know who was responsible. Back in the Galactic Council, Taran received a secret message from an old friend inside the Dominion. The message was only one line long. They planned to strike the humans soon. Taran's blood ran cold. He rushed to the council chambers, demanding an emergency meeting. But the council refused to listen. "Without proof, we cannot accuse the Dominion," said the speaker. "You are chasing ghosts again, Taran." He stared at them, disbelief in his eyes. "If they strike first, humanity will not forget. You think you fear them now? Wait until they lose someone they love." But again, his warning was ignored. Days later, a small human colony called Eden 4 went dark. No signal, no response, no survivors. Only ashes drifting through the void. When the message reached Earth, silence filled the command halls. The recording showed charred buildings, broken ships, and a single surviving transmission. It was the voice of a dying child whispering, "Mom, the stars are burning." Across the galaxy, everyone waited. Would humans cry? Would they beg for help? But Earth said nothing. Their channels went silent. Their ships stopped moving. The council grew uneasy. "Maybe they are finished," said one alien leader. "No," Taran said quietly, watching the stars flicker. "They are thinking. And when humans think, something always happens." He turned to his monitor where the prophecy glowed once more. A new fragment appeared, one he had never seen before. "When they are wounded, their silence will shake the heavens." Taran felt a shiver crawl up his spine. He looked out through the glass dome above him. In the dark ocean of space, hundreds of faint blue lights had begun to move, Earth's fleets awakening from the dark. And in that moment, he understood. The galaxy had just made its greatest mistake. The doom the prophecy spoke of wasn't coming anymore. It was already here. For 7 long days, Earth stayed silent. No broadcasts, no messages, no response. The galaxy waited in uneasy stillness, afraid to breathe. The destruction of the human colony Eden 4 had sent shockwaves through every known world. Billions of aliens saw the images, burned cities, broken ships, and the echo of a child's voice lost in the static. No one claimed responsibility. But everyone knew who did it. The Drax Dominion denied the attack, but the smell of their lies spread fast. Their fleets began to regroup along the border, pretending it was a defensive maneuver. Taran Voss watched the data screens from his private chamber, his heart sinking. He whispered, "They don't understand what they've done." Far across the void, the humans were not crying. They were preparing. In the great orbital dockyards above Earth, lights burned without rest. Engineers worked day and night. Pilots were recalled from distant missions. Every old ship, every prototype, every hidden weapon was brought online. In silence, humanity remembered. They remembered the cries from Eden 4. They remembered how their offers of peace had been met with fire. And they remembered the words once spoken by Captain Mara Ellen. "We don't start wars, but we finish them." The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Panic filled the chamber. "Human ships are mobilizing," shouted one councillor. "Entire fleets disappearing from their orbits." Councillor Vela tried to calm them. "Maybe they are preparing only to defend." "Defend!" interrupted Drizar with rage. "They will destroy everything." Taran stood up, his voice cutting through the noise. "You fools," he said quietly. "You still think they're like us. You think they fight for power or pride. But humans fight for something far greater, for memory, for justice." His words echoed in the hall, but no one truly heard him. On the 4th day of silence, the stars over Eden 4's ruins shimmered. Sensors across the sector detected hundreds of warp signatures, one after another, too fast to count, and then they appeared. Dozens of human warships, massive, black and silent, sliding out of hyperspace like shadows. Their hulls bore no markings, no names, only the faint blue light of their engines. The largest of them, the UNS Valiant, opened a channel. A calm voice spoke to the Dominion fleets occupying this system. "You attacked a peaceful colony. You murdered civilians. You left us no choice. This is humanity's response." Before the Drax commander could reply, the void erupted in light. The battle that followed became legend. The Drax armada was vast, thousands of ships, weapons drawn, ready for war. But the humans moved like a storm. Their tactics were not of rage, but of precision. They struck at engines, not cities. They jammed enemy sensors, blinding entire fleets. Every human ship fought in perfect silence, communicating through flashes of light instead of words. The Dominion's proud warships fell one by one, drifting like broken glass across the stars. In less than 2 hours, the Drax armada was gone. The humans didn't take prisoners. They didn't cheer. They simply turned their ships and vanished back into the void. The news reached the Galactic Council within minutes. The silence inside the chamber was colder than ice. "They wiped out the Dominion fleet," whispered one. "With minimal losses," said another. Councillor Vela stood slowly. Then the prophecy was true. Taran didn't answer. He was already watching something new, a transmission from the human flagship. It was Captain Mara Ellen. Her face was calm, her eyes like steel. "To all civilizations of the Galactic Council," she said, "Earth has no desire for conquest. We came to learn, to share, to live in peace, but we will not be prey. Not again. Not ever." The message ended there. No threats, no demands, just truth. Across alien worlds, fear and awe mixed together. Some called the humans monsters. Others called them saviors. But to Taran they were something else entirely, the inevitable force the prophecy had spoken of. He opened his old archives again, searching through every surviving symbol until one final translation appeared. "They will burn not to destroy, but to cleanse. The stars will tremble, and from the ashes balance shall be reborn." He leaned back, trembling. "The doom was never death," he whispered. It was awakening. Far beyond the Council's reach, the human fleets did not rest. They rebuilt the colony of Eden 4 from its ruins. They raised shelters, buried the lost, and restored the ground until it was alive again. When the work was done, Captain Mara stood before the memorial, a simple stone engraved with 10 words. "We are human. We remember. We forgive but never forget." A soft wind passed through the colony's empty streets. The flag of Earth fluttered in the artificial breeze, and then the message went out to every corner of the galaxy. A single transmission repeated in every language. "We are not your enemies, but if you make us one, the stars themselves will not protect you." Back in the dark of his study, Taran closed his eyes. He could still hear the echoes of the old priest's final words. "They are the doom and the dawn." He looked toward the stars, now bright with the light of human ships moving between worlds, and whispered, "They are both." The galaxy had awakened something ancient, and now there was no going back. The galaxy was no longer the same. Every world, every station, every empire had seen the destruction of the Drax Dominion. And with it came silence, a silence heavier than war. No one dared to attack the humans again. But fear has a way of growing even in peace. The Galactic Council met in secret, desperate to control what they could no longer understand. Councillor Drezar spoke first, his voice trembling. "They will not stop. Look at them. They rebuild the colony they lost, and now they send fleets to the edge of every known system. They're spreading, and faster than light itself." Others murmured in agreement. "Maybe we should unite against them," someone whispered. But Councillor Vela shook her head. "If you raise your weapons again, they'll destroy us all. Humanity isn't conquering. They're defining what it means to live free." Her words fell into the air like sparks, beautiful but unwanted. Meanwhile, humanity moved forward with purpose, not pride. Earth sent envoys to the surviving alien races, offering help, not rule. They repaired devastated cities, shared medicine, even rebuilt the orbital farms the Drax had once destroyed. To the broken and the weak, humans became saviors. To the powerful and proud, they became a nightmare. Across the stars, the great empires began to fracture under their own fear. The Core Syndicate, once the wealthiest empire in the galaxy, closed its borders, terrified of human influence. But within weeks, their people began to revolt. They had seen what humans offered: fairness, unity, second chances. They wanted the same. The Syndicate tried to crush the uprisings, but rebellion spread faster than control. Soon, entire cities declared independence, raising banners painted with a single human phrase: "We are stronger together." That was the moment the Council realized the truth. Humanity didn't need to invade. Their ideas were invasion enough. Taran Vos watched the chaos unfold from his observatory. He had seen centuries of wars, of empires rising and falling, but never like this. The humans fought differently. They didn't seek to rule the stars, they sought to change them, to make them fair, balanced, alive again, and they succeeded. In only a few years, the humans helped rebuild 6 dying civilizations. Their fleets patrolled not to conquer, but to protect trade routes. They opened schools on alien worlds, teaching children from a dozen species how to think, create, and hope. But not everyone celebrated. Deep within the old Dominion territories, the surviving generals plotted revenge. They gathered what remained of their fleets, hungry for one final strike, a way to make humanity bleed. Their plan was simple: strike Earth itself. A fleet of cloaked warships moved silently toward the solar system. They carried weapons powered by stolen technology, enough to burn a planet. But the humans were ready. They had seen this coming. As the alien ships emerged near Jupiter, hundreds of human vessels appeared around them, already waiting. No words were spoken. No warnings given. The enemy fleet simply vanished in a blinding storm of light. It was over in seconds. Afterward, Captain Mara Ellen stood aboard the UNS Valiant, looking down at the pale blue glow of Earth. Her face was tired but calm. "They keep testing us," she said softly. "And they keep failing to understand why we fight." Her first officer nodded. "They think we fight to win." Mara looked out into the stars. "No, we fight to survive, and to make sure no one else has to fight like we did." On the Council world, the last meeting of the Old Order took place. The chamber was nearly empty. Many races had already left, choosing instead to join humanity's growing alliance called the Concord of Worlds. Councillor Vela stood before the fading lights. "The prophecy was right," she said quietly. "They were not our end. They were our beginning." Taran nodded slowly. He had spent his life fearing the words of the ancient priest, but now he saw them clearly. It was never a curse. It was a warning of renewal. He whispered the final lines he had translated from the old crystal. "When they rise, the proud will fall. But from the fall, the stars will be reborn." As the council dissolved, Taran walked outside into the bright light of a new dawn. Above him, ships from 100 worlds drifted together in orbit, human, Velari, Core, and many others, flying side by side under one shared banner, a symbol of unity. He smiled faintly. "So this is what doom looks like," he said. "Not death, but change." In the far reaches of space, beyond any known star map, a single human probe traveled through the void. Its engines pulsed quietly, sending out a repeating signal into the darkness. "To whoever finds this message, we were here. We came from a small blue world. We endured. We learned, and we became more." The signal kept going, and across galaxies, across time, carrying with it the legacy of a species that had once been feared as the end. But in truth, they were the beginning of something far greater. The fall of empires had not brought darkness. It had brought light. The galaxy was healing. The great wars had ended. The council was gone, and for the first time in thousands of years, the stars were quiet. But for Taran Vos, the silence carried questions that would not die. Who wrote the ancient prophecy? Why had it spoken of humanity's coming long before the species even reached the stars? He spent his last years chasing answers. From dead moons to forgotten temples, from shattered archives to drifting ruins, he searched. And one day, in the dark void between galaxies, he found something. A world made of glass and stone, ancient beyond imagination. It hung above a dying star, untouched for millions of years. Taran landed his small vessel and stepped into the dust-filled temple. Symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing like a heartbeat. At the center stood a crystal tower, cracked but alive with energy. When he touched it, the air shimmered, and a voice spoke. "You have come seeking the truth," said the voice. It was not male or female. It sounded timeless. Taran froze. "Who are you?" "We are the ones who came before," the voice replied. "We walked the stars when your kind was still learning to dream." The walls shifted, showing visions of galaxies forming, civilizations rising and fading like sparks. Taran whispered, "Then the prophecy. It was yours?" "Yes," said the voice. "We saw what would come. A species born in chaos and pain, a species that would not bow not even to death itself. They would bring balance to what we had broken. Humans." Taran breathed. The vision changed again, showing Earth. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds. Then came the wars, the unity, the endless climb into the stars. The voice continued, "We created peace once. But it was peace born of control. We removed choice, conflict, emotion. And so our light faded. The vision showed a dying civilization, beautiful but hollow. We foresaw a new beginning," it said, "one that would rise from struggle, from fire." Humanity became that spark. Taran's mind reeled. "So they weren't a curse," he whispered. "They were salvation." "Yes," said the voice softly, "but salvation always comes with pain. The fall of empires was necessary. The death of pride, the rebirth of hope, that was the true prophecy." As the voice faded, the crystal tower dimmed. Taran stood alone, surrounded by silence again. He realized the prophecy was never meant to warn of doom. It was meant to prepare the galaxy, to remind every world that sometimes destruction brings creation. He smiled faintly. "You were right," he said to the empty chamber. "They are the storm and the light after it.